Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino, and I'm happy to be here with you. This is the last trading day of the week, by the way. What does that mean? I will not be here tomorrow. But you know what? We'll talk about that at the end. Let's see if I don't have a meltdown before that point. Anyway, so yes, this is my post-market wrap-up on this record-setting day for the stock market. The S&P 500 people just closed at a new all-time record high. Again, this Thursday, December 23rd, 2021. If you recall, if you follow my work, I told you all at the beginning of the month that we would see record highs by the end of the month. And guess what? Here we are. Just real quick, the actual Santa Claus rally doesn't theoretically begin until the 27th, okay? So this market probably has further to run higher. If we look at the setup here, people, it's pretty incredible. Again, let's do that. So as I just said, S&P 500, new record high today, new record close, as a matter of fact. Stocks higher pretty much across the board. What else is going on? Bitcoin, 51,000 and going much higher. Okay, we all know that. Gold and silver caught a bid today. Dollar weaker. Crude oil, $74 a barrel and going up. Yield curve normalizing. MMRI, low risk people. Look, this is a dream come true for market participants here. It's not going to stop. So again, just remain steadfast. If you're with me, if you're one of my lions, we are not going to deviate from our current strategy. I sent this out again in my free newsletter. Look, if you are not subscribing to my free newsletter, it's literally free. Link in the description of this video. You're missing out on a lot of important things, okay? I would suggest if you follow my work to, please, I don't know what you're waiting for. Join my free newsletter. It's literally freaking free. And you get a lot of inside stuff here. Anyway, people, so with that said, again, I want to cover a bunch of things with you and put a couple of things into perspective for you. We got several rounds today of really bad economic news, not just the ones I covered this morning, but we got even more. And as long as that keeps coming, again, the market sees bad economic news as a positive thing. Why? Well, it's been doing this for years, all throughout the Trump presidency, all throughout Obama presidency, and our current retard president as well. The more bad economic news we get, the more easy money is going to be pumped into it. Okay, it's not going to stop. I already showed you the Fed's balance sheet ballooning, hyper ballooning, the fake taper. They tapered nothing. As a matter of fact, since their first announced taper, they've increased asset purchases by a large margin. And you can expect the same thing to happen here. I have clearly outlined for all of you that despite the fact that we have inflation surging at its fastest pace ever. Now, you don't need Greg Mannarino to tell you this. This was reported this morning from the mainstream propaganda ministry. Yeah, they're letting you in on the big secret that inflation has not peaked, although we heard about that recently. Oh, yeah, inflation is peaking. We passed that peak, and we're going to continue higher. The Fed has no intention whatsoever on preventing inflation from surging. Again, what's really going on is an elimination of the middle class, okay? The creation of a two-tier society, a new feudal system, extreme haves, extreme have-nots, a new paradigm, a new set of rules, more control, you know that. That's really what this is all about. A demographic shift, meaning, again, that feudal system I'm talking about, the rich and the well-off continue to get richer and are more well-off. The middle class continues to bear the burden of all of this, and those at the lower rung, well, they're done already. And people in the middle class are struggling just to try to maintain the illusion of a middle class existence by borrowing and borrowing and borrowing some more. All that is doing is assuring they're going to go down to the lower rung of society. I have outlined that exact scenario for you. I said that's how it would unfold from years ago. And we're seeing it right now, right before our freaking eyeballs, people. So just get used to that. Anyway, so let me cover a bunch of stuff with you. I don't even know where to start. How about this? Let's just recap real quick. So this morning it was reported that inflation is surging at its fastest pace ever on record. Okay. I've been telling you this for a very long time. I don't know how many of you believed me, but you can believe the propaganda ministry because they're telling you that. Consumer spending is slowing despite the fact that American citizens are burying themselves in debt. It's not stopping. You see, they feel American citizens are, well, maybe retarded. I don't know. They believe they can borrow their way into prosperity, kind of like, the hyper debt bubble that we are in right now. You cannot borrow your way into prosperity. You can borrow your way into a black hole. More than likely, that is what's going on here with those of you that continue to, seek out credit. I mean, all you're doing is destroying yourself. Maybe it feels good from a temporary standpoint, but that's what's going on here. We also found out that another 205,000 people applied for first-time unemployment benefits last week. This is a weekly occurrence. Do the math, okay? I already told you that net, every month we are losing jobs in our economy. As a percentage of GDP, our economy is cratering at its fastest pace in history, along with inflation surging at its fastest pace in history. We also found out a couple of other lovely pieces of news on the economic news front. And again, all the bad economic news is enough to push the S&P 500 to a record high. So here, I'm just going to read this to you. This is directly off of CNBC. New home sales plunge 14% year over year. Meanwhile, median home prices rise 18.8% year over year. How does that work? Okay, it's inflation, it's material costs, it's labor costs, all this stuff here. It's so absolutely crazy. Now for those of you who don't believe Greg Mannarino and think that we are in an economic boom because our retard president tells you so, or the talking heads on the propaganda ministry tell you so, how about this one? 20% of American households this year, could not pay their energy bills and are seeking public assistance. This is expected to get worse through the winter. So this is what an economic boom looks like in an upside down, backwards, twisted environment. Again, money velocity, I showed you the chart this morning in my previous video. We are at historic lows. You cannot have an economic recovery or an economic boom without money velocity moving higher, the rate at which cash moves to the economy. Doesn't this make sense to you? How many of you think you need a rocket science degree to figure out what I am telling you? If cash is not moving through the economy, we're dead. We're dead in the water. Our economy is shrinking like I've been telling you, but the propaganda ministry is trying to convince you that I am telling you the wrong thing. Let us move forward here. I got a few more things I want to cover. So public schools right now are running low on food supplies. And the U.S. Department of Agriculture has pledged $1.5 billion to help supply schools that are in distress and states that are in need. That's also a sign of a booming economy as well. I want to touch on this real quick. I forgot what show it was this morning. I flip around all day. I want to hear what comes out of the mouth of the propaganda ministry. It really makes me sick, and it makes my blood pressure skyrocket. One of the financial channels today they had a guest out there. I wish I knew which one it was. It doesn't really matter though, but because they're all the same. Talking about how Bitcoin is a threat to the financial system. Think about what they're saying. Bitcoin is a threat to the Federal Reserve run managed system. Well, good. I don't know about you, but I think if that's actually true, although I sincerely doubt it, the entire market cap of the crypto space in aggregate is maybe equivalent to one Dow component, maybe 1.5 Dow components. It's not even close. And the fact of the matter is, so many people have been duped into believing that they should not be in cryptocurrencies. I know that's not you. If you've been following this blog, I mean, if you've been following this blog, you started getting in on Bitcoin at about 3,000. It's at 51,000 right now. So I know that's not you. Anyway, many people have been duped into thinking they should be in a Federal Reserve issued note as opposed to a cryptocurrency or a Bitcoin, and you've gotten slaughtered, absolutely slaughtered, unfortunately. But it's not too late either, because in my view, and I covered this just recently, I cover it all the time, $51,000 Bitcoin, people are going to laugh as this thing takes off moving forward. $51,000 Bitcoin, in my professional opinion, it's massively undervalued, along with obviously physical gold and silver more specifically. And even though, again, the global debt situation continues to surge, we heard from the IMF yesterday explaining that global debt hit a new all-time record high. You can see what's happening to gold and silver. Their prices are being suppressed artificially by the largest bank by assets on the planet Earth. And I'm referring to JP Morgan. They can do anything. I told you, a Wall Street super bank can commit murder in broad daylight in the middle of Times Square. The CEO of a Wall Street super bank can do that, caught on camera, and nothing will happen. Again, these institutions are too powerful. They are too big. So just get used to that. Anyway, people, what else do I want to cover with you? Look, this guy here, Greg Mannarino, is really working hard for all of you. I really feel like I work for you, okay? I feel a responsibility to get it right. And I know there's a lot of Greg Mannarino haters out here. But ask them, where has Greg gotten it wrong? Honestly, with regard to this market, have you seen a guy or heard of a guy who has called this market better than me? With regard to Bitcoin, since at least Bitcoin 3,000, have you heard of a guy who's called Bitcoin better than me? Look, I'm not sitting here tooting my own horn, but the fact of the matter is, I've kept you on the right side of this, and I will continue to do that. No matter what they throw at us, we can't lose. Okay, we know what they're going to do when they're going to do it. For example, the Federal Reserve talking about a taper. They never tapered anything. I showed you the proof of that. I showed you the chart recently where here was the taper. Look where we are now. The Fed's balance sheet continues to balloon. They will not taper anything. So ignore, again, they had some freak on CNBC just prior to the closing bell talking about the Fed taper and how the Fed's going to need to raise rates much faster to combat inflation. No, absolutely not. The Fed has no intention of doing this. The Fed does not want to slow inflation. As a matter of fact, the goal of all central banks is to continue to inflate faster. Henceforth, why we are seeing inflation surge at its fastest pace on record, reported by the propaganda ministry this morning. It's not going to stop. And understanding that mechanism, people, just makes our life very, very simple. Bet against the debt. Become your own central bank. Be in this market, okay? I've been telling you for years to be in this market. Own large cap dividend paying stocks, while at the same time trading the market using credit spreads, selling puts onto the market. Forget about buying calls, okay? The way to beat this market, steady income for yourself, is to learn just 2 or even 1 just very simple strategy. Learn how to use credit spreads. You want to learn how to use credit spreads? In the description of this video is a link to my book, A Not So Random Walk on Wall Street. Just go pick it up, okay? There's a link to it. It's not that hard to beat this market if you just have 1 or 2 functioning brain cells. Then at the same time, we're hedging our bets for when this whole entire shit house goes up in flames. It's not sustainable. And what they're doing by design is hyperinflating the debt, creating a massive bubble in the stock market, distorting asset prices across the board. You think this is not by design? Any one of you You really think this is just by accident? Really? Honestly? You're in the wrong place. Let me tell you that. Or you need to start paying attention just a little bit. But as I explained recently, this whole thing, what it really boils down to is this debt hyperbubble is the greatest threat to humankind, human existence in the history of the world. And it's going to come down to a resource problem. Again, we continue to borrow from the future in greater and greater amounts just to sustain where we are. When the debt bubble bursts, and it will. I don't think there's a person following this blog that doesn't believe or understand that the debt bubble will burst. Right now it's being fueled by design. It's going to burst by design. And when that happens, we can't borrow. We will no longer be able to borrow anymore. The entire system reset will happen. Okay, and a new system is going to be introduced. I've explained this to you from years and years ago. Okay, but again, along with the debt bubble, the debt hyperbubble bursting, not only is it going to change the landscape of the financial world, again, things are going to change so dramatically. People are going to be running around in the streets wondering what they can do. They have no access to funds. ATMs don't work. Debit cards don't work. Credit cards don't work. This is called a credit freeze. Okay? The entire system locks up. This is going to happen. And how long are they going to allow it to go on? Until they're ready to introduce a new system. And they're well on their way to doing that right now. This whole thing is leading to a climax, like I said. When we are no longer able to borrow from the future in greater and greater amounts, exponentially, everything ends. From that perspective, the reality that you believe is real, that you're in right now, will change overnight. Bam. Just like that. An implosion in the debt market, a stock market meltdown unlike anything we've ever seen in the history of the world. Commodities are going to skyrocket, in my view. When this happens, you're going to see gold, silver, crude oil, and I believe cryptocurrencies hit highs that you are not going to believe. No one's going to believe it. But again, it's just cash moving from one reality into another. Cash does not go to money heaven. How many times have you heard me say that? It simply moves from one reality into another reality. But if you are positioned the way I have explained to you for years, again, being in the market, large cap dividend paying stocks, becoming your own central bank, betting against the debt, owning physical gold, physical silver, buying the dips in the market as we go along, owning cryptos, you're sitting pretty. You're sitting absolutely pretty. There's going to be a moment where Greg Mannarino no longer says buy the dips. And that's when you should worry. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now because I have used, with all of you, we have utilized that buy the dip strategy for freaking years. And frankly, we destroyed this market. And we're going to continue to destroy it moving forward. No matter what they do, they can throw anything at us they want. From a financial standpoint, we can't be beaten and we are freaking invincible. Me, my lions, my friends, all of you out here. People, look, this is my last video of the week because like I said, the market is closed tomorrow. And I will see all of you on Sunday for my markets a look ahead. People, look, I love all of you. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate out there. I want you to live long and prosper. Does that sound familiar to you? It should. In the wise words of Mr. Spock, honestly, people, we got to stick together. We need each other so badly right now moving forward. I've pushed this same theme for years. How many times? Every single Friday I tell you, love each other, care about each other, be charitable. You think this just comes out of my mouth because I think it sounds good? I do it because I mean it, all right? And you and I are making a difference in the world together by understanding what's going on and getting videos like this out so people can hear what's going on. You think you're going to get this from anywhere else? I don't think so. I really don't. Anyway, people, so we're going to treat this like a Friday. Bring it in. No one's watching. It's just you and me. All right? Love each other. Care about each other. Be charitable. You will not see the Crypto Kid tomorrow. The Crypto Kid told me to relay his Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you. But you will see me on Sunday. Go visit the Crypto Kid on his YouTube channel. I think most of you probably are subscribed to him. He's a good guy. All right, look. I am out of here. And just one last time, I really love all of you. Please be safe until I see you again on Sunday. And, well, that's it. I'll see you Sunday.